of the Pace Trans Ams here at the Superloop Adelaide 500. Aaron Seaton starting from pole position. He's never been here before, but has put the Harris Racing entry on pole. Mediki at a second position. Cameron Crick moves into the category this year with Brett Holdsworth. Craig Dontis won't start from the third row. Jimmy Vernon is in the field. Nathan Hearn, Hugh McAllister, Matt McKeldin and Anthony Tenkate also amongst some of the names. You might recognise some of these guys from last year as well. Nick Carroll from the 86 series, Chris Formosa from Super Utes, and Sean Richardson is also in there. He's just jumped out of his super truck. Ian McAllister, who used to race V8 Utes back in the days, and Tim Shaw also in the field of 20. About to let loose around this 3.2 kilometre Adelaide Street Circuit. Chad Naylon, how good are these cars? You've got probably the best spot for the race coming up in a few moments' time.
Yeah, matey, and I found something of a motor racing legend in this country, Glenn Seaton, talking to his son right now on the formation lap. Glenn, what have you been saying to Aaron as he gets set for this first race?
Well, naturally, it's the first time he's ever been here, so just the catches you can get on the first lap around here, naturally up into turn 4, everyone dive bombs each other, so those sort of things get a good start. But just the formation at the moment, there's a formation system with this rolling start, just running that through with him, but he's pretty capable, he can do the rest.
He's an amazing young talent. What's the latest with his career? Is he just going to focus on the Trans Ams this year?
Sorry again?
An amazing young career so far. Is he just going to focus on the Trans Ams this year?
Yeah, at this stage, that's our focus. It's a fantastic category. It's going forward leaps and bounds, and he loves driving the cars. They're very much like driving a supercar, he thinks, but just a little bit less grip.
Good to chat, mate.
Thank you.
What a legend, Glenn Seaton, always smiling. About to watch his young son, Aaron, start from pole position. We're in car with George Mediki, car number 7. What a category this is. The LS Chevy engines are inside the 3 generations of cars we have amongst the field of 20. Their first time on the street circuit, and this crowd on Friday afternoon are about to witness the noise of the rumble, because these cars are called Andy Jones. They come down to take the green flag in their very first race of the Trans Ams on the streets of Adelaide. Get underway, and the charge to turn number 1 is on. Seaton to the inside in the number 1 car. Covers off Mediki as they snap sideways across the top of the chicane for the first time.
So much torque from these 7-litre crate engines. We could feel the ground rumbling when everybody was let loose and they all got on the gas. Turn 4.
Nathan Hearn.
Looked like Nathan Hearn going up the inside of Jimmy Vernon down there. That was the point that Glenn Seaton was making. They're the opportunities that you can make early on. Jimmy Vernon spent a lot of time in Toyota 86. Very, very different to these opponents. Mediki again is around, unfortunately, after all the work that's gone into fixing that car.
And it's 1 corner further up the road than the incident this morning. I saw the Plus Fitness car in the shot as well of Cameron Crick, so there's more to that story. What a shame for that team that repaired that car after the qualifying shunt earlier today. He'll drop to the bottom of the field. We pick up Chris Formosa in the 49 trying to make the move, as that's happening down at the bottom of the turn 9 hairpin. It's lots to look at as the safety car is called, and the driver's been caught out by the conditions, and probably these Hoosier tyres not up to exact temperature right now.
And I don't think Mediki's going anywhere. It looked like when he was trying to get on the throttle, something had jammed up in that car. You could see the car all twisting up when we saw it. We'll wait to catch a replay of what actually happened. But it looks like it's stranded, and that's why the safety car has been deployed. But wow, plenty of action on this opening lap, Matt.
It is stranded at the top there. Top of the staircase, turn 6. That's coming off of East Terrace into Hutt Street. This might be to tell us more. So this is in car with George Mediki. That's Seaton ahead. This is where he had his incident this morning through turn number 5. The left-hander climbing to the top of Hutt Street. So is there contact? No, he steered across, and that's just into the wall. But that was weird.
No, there's something that's gone on earlier than that. So what I was looking for there, Matt, was to see if anything happened as he came off the curb at the previous corner. Okay, he's getting a push now, but I think that's cause and effect. I don't think that is the cause of his issue. That's unfortunately happened because Crick had nowhere to go behind him, and he's gotten into the back of Mediki. Now, I couldn't hear exactly, Matt, whether or not, but it sounded like the power had gone out in the engine. But we did see him refire it back up. So a couple of questions, I'm sure. I can hear Chad Naylon's feet down in the pit lane there, running around already, trying to find us some answers. The short of it is, very, very unfortunate for the 7.
He'll need a set of Hoosiers himself by the end of this race. We saw that empty space on the 3rd row for Craig Dontis, who didn't take the start today. Great run for Seaton into turn number 1. Got the number 1, turned him perfectly. The Mustangs that glanced over the curbs. But it didn't take too long before we saw that incident at the top of Hutt Street there at turn number 6. Let's go to the pits.
Yeah, this could be the bravest or dumbest interview I'll try all weekend, but just before they throw one more roll on. Hey, Cameron, good to see you, buddy. Unfortunately, back in the pits. Hey, mate, what happened on that first lap?
Yeah, mate, I think something's obviously still wrong with George's car. He just stopped halfway through the corner, and I just had nowhere to go.
They're going to give this car the send out straight away, but I just wanted to sort of confirm, was there cause and effect there? And I think that sort of answers it for us, guys. He was behind George at that point. Thought that something broke on that car. Might even try Barry Hayes having a bit of a watch over this car. It's Melbourne Performance Centre. Baz, what's the latest with this thing?
Mate, it was just wrong place, wrong time. You know how it is. So our mate goes skidding around and jams in the fence, and next thing we're there and just Liberace him. So it's just the way it goes, buddy. You just got to roll with it and have another shot tomorrow.
I'll leave that one for the music fans. Thanks, Baz.
Ah, the old Liberace. Yeah. Haven't seen that one for a while, have we?
It's all happening already in the transit.
So the interesting part of that, thanks very much, Chad, was that Cameron Crick did confirm that it looked like or sounded like there was an issue for George on the approach to the right-hander there at turn 6, and his car has slowed on the approach. Then with Cameron having nowhere to go, he's made contact with him. I'm sure there'll be more to this, but the excitement that we expected from this Trans Am series is certainly delivered early on, and that wasn't the only incident. So this is the replay. It's a little bit, that right front is all locked up, obviously, off the back of George needing to be on the brake pedal, trying to turn the car when we're on board with him. Really, the kicker for me, we'll have a listen to this, Matt.
That's a weird one. The power was still there. He was in second gear on the approach to the right-hander. It's a double whammy for this car as well, because the car that Crick's in is the one that George's dad, Andrew, raced last year. Returns to the circuit now and joins the tail of the field.
Yeah, so you're right. The power was still there.
So obviously the race was to try and get that car out on the lead lap, guys, but he got to the end of pit exit and got the dreaded red light on the big Pulsar timing lighting system that we've now installed at the Supercars pit exit, which meant that he was not allowed to leave pit lane, had to wait for the field to roll through, and he's now down a lap. Chad Nalon's picked the wrong time to be in pit lane for this one. He's working his feet off right now as the tilt tray comes out to retrieve George Miedeke, the retractable number 7 going onto the back. All these laps count behind the Vodafone safety car. Not the way the Trans Ams wanted their first race to be from this great crowd on Fast Friday here at the Superloop Adelaide 500. It's the old saying, isn't it, Andy? When your day starts off bad, it tends to get worse.
Unfortunately, it rings very true far too often in the game of motorsport. Now, while we watch this, the recovery crew there, I was curious to see whether or not any of those wheels, and particularly the rear wheels, would rotate as they tried to drag it up onto the back of the flat tray, which would indicate, if they weren't rotating, that something in the differential in the rear of the car has jammed up and locked, which would, for me, make sense as to why George had a whole heap of lock and the car wouldn't turn if the rear of the car was all locked up, inducing all that understeer.
Take a look at the replay one more time here at the top of Hutt Street, just a few moments. There's Crick just at the back of the field now. He's gone a lap down in the process, as Chad Nalon mentioned. But let's have a listen to this car going through the staircase. Crank it up.
The tyre noise for me is the bit that I'm curious about, Matt, and there's going to be some tyre squeal from the understeer, but it almost sounds like something's jammed in the back of that car. Now let's have a, so the front right isn't turning, but that's because he's got heaps of lock going on and he'll be on the brake pedal. It's almost an inside front lock, which happens when you've got that amount of lock on. The interesting bit about that one was that the right rear was turning for sure. But then when we cut to the replay after that, we could see George, he had it fired up. The car was all twisted. It was trying to move under its own power, but it just wasn't going anywhere. So there's a bit to this and we can't deduct what it is.
Go for it, Chad.
Yeah, I found one very well-known figure from down in pit lane watching the action. And Rusty, what exactly are you looking for in these cars? Because you look more like a race fan just standing there watching this big field roll by.
No, well, I've actually got one of them myself, and because of our commitments here this week with the V8 supercars, I've decided to support Jimmy Vernon in this category, and I think it's a great category, and I think it's a good sign. We started off with only a few number of these cars coming into a country. Now we've got a large number, there's 30-odd cars in the country, so I think it's some fantastic racing, and it's certainly, it's, from a crowd's perspective, we've got Camaro, we've got Chevy and Dodge, so I think to have the three brands all in the one race is fantastic.
Another young driver that you're supporting then in Jimmy Vernon, former Toyota 86 champion. What is it that you've liked about Jimmy so far?
Oh, look, I've watched Jimmy over the years, and I just think he's up and coming, and he's doing well here, and I think, you know, this is probably an entree for him to go into V8 supercars similar to what I'm doing with young Thomas Randall. So I like to support the young guys coming through, and if Sky Sands can support these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of V8 supercar drivers out there that'll be hanging up their helmet in a few years, and we've got to keep young ones coming through.
That's a really good answer, man. It's great to see a guy like Jimmy getting an opportunity. Good, well done.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
It's definitely back some of the stars that we see today in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Rusty French and business Sky Sands. It's been around for a long, long time. Sometimes since he's actually had a steer properly. He had a drive in a Tickford car a few seasons ago at a drive day, but known for bringing a couple of Dodge Vipers out many, many years ago that they contested at the Race of 1,000 Years event. Both he and a guy called Darcy Russell from Victoria went to America. They brought him back on the Route 66 highway, put him in shipping containers and brought him out to Australia. That was 20 years ago.
And that's a cool story, isn't it? Imagine that road trip. That would be a heap of fun.
Matt McKeldin going through the shot as well, the Kubota Tractors entry, moving out of Super Utes last year into that category. He's teaming up with Hugh McAllister. The son of Ian McAllister is also in the field. That ran in the V8 Utes many, many years ago. And we continue behind. This is the autograph session that happened earlier today as the drivers woke up from a busy afternoon and night here at the Superloop Adelaide 500 yesterday and getting set for another season. I like the idea that we had practice yesterday.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. It gives the teams an opportunity to have a look at the circuit, obviously early into the weekend, but also it'll help them prep for the thread of the weekend. Having that overnight time rather than having it as condensed as we've seen in the past on the Friday, just it alleviates a little bit of that workload from within the teams. Phil Munday there, team owner at Milwaukee Racing, just making sure that his car is polished to within an end of its life.
Definitely hands-on as Phil Munday. They were great in testing at the Bend on Tuesday afternoon in very windy conditions up there. They've got the 500k endurance race happening later this year. First round, the Pertec Enduro Cup. We'll start off a big season of endurance here at the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Still under Vodafone safety car here. Shouldn't be too far away from getting back to green flag racing with Seaton, Nathan Hearn, Jimmy Vernon, Brett Holdsworth, who returns to racing in 4th position. Hugh McAllister ahead of Matt McKeldin. Steve McLaughlin runs in 7th in the Valvoline entry. But Nick Carroll, Mick Coulter and Anthony Tenkate, your top 10.
Great job by Nathan Hearn there on the opening lap. Young Charger, moved from Australian Formula Ford, and has seen this category as his next stepping stone to being able to progress up through the ranks. And how good is it to have these cars here on the build this weekend? I'm a fan.
The noise yesterday in particular was really welcoming. And this category continues to boom with 20 cars. He's expecting big fields over the course of their series in 2020. Vodafone safety car is heading to the pits. The lights are out. And it's all in the hands of Aaron Seaton, with pretty much the entire race being behind the safety car. And now it's got Hearn, Vernon, Holdsworth and Hugh McAllister coming around once again to take the green flag. The first appearance of the Trans Ams as the green flag waves, and we're back underway here at the Adelaide 500.
A really well-timed restart there from Aaron Seaton. Timed it well, was able to get a bit of a jump. Look at Hearn in the background just jumping across those curves. Full commitment. Nothing like a young guy on cold tyres. One Larry Perkins coined that phrase. We'll leave it alone from there. But
I know exactly where you were going with it.
The commitment level was huge from Hearn, and he wants to go with Seaton here, and we want him to. We want that battle at the front of the field. Vernon looking very comfortable in third position. He's going to come under some pressure in a minute from Holdsworth, brother of Lee. So great to have those two guys racing again on the same weekend, on the same bill. And there's that cross-ply Hoosier that we heard George Midiki talk about in the interview at the top of this race. He just said that the tyre really moves around underneath the cars, and that shot there where you can see the back of the car moving around, well, it's not chassis, it's just tyre deflection.
And it really shows that shot low down at turn number 8. Past the Shannon's wall can we go, and around to complete the first full racing lap for the Trans Ams. Seaton from Hearn, Vernon still runs in third, and Brett Holdsworth in the 99 is in fourth position. You can hear them squirming and squealing their way through the turn 14 section as these Hoosier tyres continue to come up the temperature as well.
Yeah, and that's the big one, Matt, with the cross-ply. You've got to get the temperature into them, and they change their cycle a little bit in the way that they feel underneath you, the Hoosier. And after a couple of laps, they'll really get some, once they get some pressure build-up off the back of generating some temp, then that sidewall will actually get a bit more structure to it and make the driver more confident. The short of all of that is, as the race goes on, we're going to see the drivers become more confident with their cars underneath them.
Talk about confidence. Nick Carroll just made the move on McLaughlin. That's Steve McLaughlin at the top of Wakefield Street. We can see the two Kubota Tractors entries with Hugh McAllister leading, Matt McCuldin, the team leader. And this, oh no, Vernon's in the tyre wall. So Vernon has found the tyre wall. He'll just get out of there, but he'll drop a ton of positions. After running in third spot, he will drop to at least the bottom of the top 10.
That's a shame for Vernon. He was doing a really nice job, and we were talking him up, saying that he looked very comfortable in third position. He's just lost the rear on turn in there at turn 6. Very easy to do. We saw a little bit of an engine failure in one of the earlier categories there today, so there's quite a bit of debris on the ground, and it's just caught Jimmy out, lost the rear on turn in. Pretty light contact on the outside, and with the fiberglass panels on these cars, you could see the left front corner of that car just pop out back to the way it should sit. So hopefully he doesn't have any damage to that car, and with one lap to go, he'll be able to continue and greet that checkered flag.
And we've found a time certain point here now with those laps we've had under Vodafone safety car. So Aaron Seaton, who has 1.5 seconds on Nathan Hearn. Brett Holdsworth now moves up into third position. Oh, Seaton just got that car pulled up at the top of Wakefield Street. So Hearn, who spent several seasons in Formula Ford competition, runs in second, but losing touch with Seaton now.
Geez, he was strong on that restart though, Matt. I really like seeing his commitment on the cold tyre. Just bomb it in at the chicane and see what happens and hang on to it. Looked like he was trying to wrestle a crocodile there for a minute as it came off the curbs and slewed out to the outside of the road. But once the race just neutralised a little bit here, Seaton's got it under control. He's not unfamiliar to these cars, Aaron Seaton. Drove them quite a bit last year throughout the whole championship. So he'll feel very comfortable. Oh, has Hearn got a problem in the background there? It looked like he was slowing as he came off turn 9.
Dropped a long way off. In fact, he was running his fastest lap up until that point, and that's more than 1.5 seconds. Will there be a change?
There's no Hearn. That's Holdsworth.
And he stopped just around the back in turn number 10. But Aaron Seaton, he's never seen the Adelaide Street Circuit from a race car point of view, and he'll convert pole position into a race win in the first race for Trans Ams here at the Superloop Adelaide 500. What a shame for Hearn. He'll drop right down out of the order. Second will go to Brett Holdsworth. What a result. Challenge on here for the minor positions. McAllister will get a home, but it's a drag race between Carroll and McCuldin, and he gets it by 0.029 of a second. McCuldin, that is.
Oh, that's tight.
Wow. Very happy dad, Glenn Seaton, down in the pits. And what a debut for the Trans Ams. Sadly littered by the safety car for the incident at the top here with George Miedeke. But Aaron Seaton, last year's champion, starts off 2020 in style here in race number 1.
Really good for his confidence as well, and confidence is king in this game. Completely different story for Miedeke, who we thought we'd see these two battling it out throughout the entire championship. not so much today.
And great result for Brett Holdsworth. He'll finish in second, although inherited that second position. Hugh McAllister third ahead of teammate Matt McKeldin. Nick Carroll, Steve McLaughlin, Michael Coulter in seventh ahead of Anthony Tenkate. Jimmy Vernon dropped to ninth. And Mark Crutcher completing the top 10, some 30 seconds behind here. Go back to Tim Shaw. He started from 20th position. Craig Scatella, Chris Formosa, Sean Richardson, Ian McAllister, Cameron Crick, who was one lap down after that incident. A tough break for George Medicki in the wars for the second time in 2 sessions today.